Yeah, so I grew up in South Africa. It is my second home, and I moved to Nigeria last year. Yesterday, I was driving from Santon to Pretoria, and I put on my favorite song. Hi, Coco. Good to see you. I'm going to stop saying hi now so I can focus on what I'm saying. Yeah, and I was listening to my favorite song, which the song that's now become my favorite song, which is Travis Green's, Made a Way. That song for me, it just tells my story. You move mountains, you cause walls to fall. The God that moves mountains, the God that causes walls to fall, that's my song because it tells my story. It tells my story. And I'm driving from Santon to Pretoria to go and visit family, and I was just driving past key places. And I had so many memories flooding my mind, and I was just in near tears. I had a full car. My car was full with my family, so and I was driving, so I had to focus, but I was near tears just remembering the various things that I went through in the many years that I lived in this city, and just how at that time those things seemed like so insurmountable, as if to say, when life is just hectic and tough, and you just think that, oh my goodness, how am I ever going to get out of this? Is this me? Is this reality forever? You understand? And then here I am, how many years later, driving past these same spots, and I'm like, wow, Lord, how did you do it? How did you bring me through, take me through, and then bring me out of this situation that I found myself in? And how did you take me through these processes? I was so moved. Indeed, we serve a God that moves mountains, and He causes walls to fall. I always get the image when I sing that song. I always get the image of being in a maze. If a maze where if you go ahead, there's no way out. If you go to the side, there's no way out. Walls, high walls around you, and you don't even know how it's possible to get out, because you can't even see the sky above you. You can't even see in front of you. There's no way out. And then suddenly God just does something, and He removes all barriers. He removes the obstacles. He changes the landscape completely, and it's like, what happened? That's my story. But actually, what I wanted to say is that it's not suddenly. And let me explain what I mean. I was driving past spots. That Santon Pretoria route, for me is so emotional, because I've mentioned it a number of times to you guys that in my family, my husband and I, we struggled, to have children, for many years, and we went through a lot of treatment. We went through a lot. Oh gosh, I could tell you stories about that. I could write books on the treatment that we went through in order to conquer this area of our lives. And I used to go to a clinic in Pretoria, and I would get in the car early in the morning, because you need to make like an early appointment, and avoid the traffic. I'll get in the car early in the morning, sort of like with your heart in your hands, hoping in your heart in your mouth, hoping that this is the time you're going to get good news. You understand? And you're driving there, your heart is like, oh God, please let it be there, let it be true, let it be true. And then you get there, you do everything, you get the test results, and it's negative. And I'm driving back in tears, bawling, crying, saying, Lord, how much can my heart take? How much can my soul take? There's this Franklin song that I used to love, on one of his albums, says the words that say, tell me how much can my soul take? I'll be like, Lord, can't you see that I feel like I'm dying here? This is too much. It's painful. How can you see your child going through so much pain and you're not doing anything about it? At least in my mind, I felt like He wasn't doing anything. I was like, but can't you see? I'm about to backslide. Oh, you're about to lose me. Oh, I used to say that to God. I'm that real with God. I'd be like, come on, really? Can you really see me going through this? And you're not doing anything about it. And guess what? After that, it'll get even worse. And it'll get even worse. And I would be like, you've got to be kidding me, Situations like that. Yesterday, I was driving to Pretoria, and I had two very rambunctious toddlers in my backseat singing and shouting, and we were doing, what's that song? Old MacDonald had a farm. And I was driving, and I was saying, Lord, how? No condition, Datola, 100%, you are right. No condition is permanent. God is faithful. God is faithful. On that same route, I remember a time when I was driving down that route, crying my eyes out, because I'd just come out of a relationship that I had no business being in the first place. And I was crying. I was mourning the fact that I would even find myself in such a silly relationship anyway. Then I was crying at the rejection, and then I was just broken. I was just broken on the inside. you know, broken on the inside, and voila, here I am, how many years later, driving, happily married, you know, much more whole, a whole person, a healed person, a person that is even able to be a blessing to other people, and being able to share my story of healing, you understand, with other people, you know. That is the work that the Lord does. Same thing, I was driving past Vodacom after Midrand, if you guys, you know Johannesburg at all. And there was a time recently, just before I had my first child, when I was like, okay, I need to get a job close to my house. We used to live in Midrand. So Vodacom, big company in South Africa, really great, you know. It's a subsidiary, I think, of Vodafone in the UK, you know. And, you know, I went for the job interview. I was like, oh, and, you know, they loved me. It was a perfect interview. They wanted to take me, and then a former employee of theirs came back, and they had to give that person, you know, first option. And I lost the opportunity. And I was like, but God, come on. Come on, this is for me. This has to be for me. It makes perfect sense. It's just close to where I live. It'll be perfect when my kids come, you know, as in everything, you know. For me, it just felt like this must be the way in which you want my life to go. I should be having this job. But guess what? It wasn't for me. And in that period, I felt like, but God, are you not being unfair to me? You know, where is the blessing? Where are the promises? You apply faith, it doesn't come through in the way you think it should come through. How many years later? I don't even live in Midrand. I live in Lagos. What was the point? I was knocking my head over trying to get a job that was not going to play any role in the path that God had for me. At that time, I ended up getting another job in the pharmaceutical company that I worked in until we left Nigeria. And guess what? I worked in that job. It was an amazing job. I got to travel to a number of countries, and I got to move to Nigeria and stay with that company. And the terms under which I worked with them when I was in Lagos, I mean, indescribable. I was working from home, you know, very, very good terms of employment, you know, until of course I left to do this, what I'm doing with you guys today. And the point I'm trying to make is, so many times in our lives we think that we know the way in which things are supposed to go. We know, we look and we use our sense, we use our logic, and we rely on our desires, and we are like, you know what, of course it needs to work this way. Of course, because it makes sense. 1 + 1 must equal 2. That job should be mine because it will make sense, because that's the kind of money that I need. That kind of company culture is what I need. Blah, blah, blah. The area in which it is what I need. And we are going ahead, plotting ahead in our lives, not realizing that God might have a different plan, instead of surrendering ourselves to what God might be doing. Do you understand? And then we get distressed when things don't work out, when we go, oh God, you're failing me, oh, you know, and stuff like that. Same thing with my fertility journey, same thing with you know, other relationships and things like that, that one has made mistakes in. You think, oh my God, life is about to end, not realizing that when you're a child of God and you walk with God, when you're a child of God and you walk with God, there is no such thing as a denial. There might be delay, right? But what I mean is that there might be delay, but every single circumstance that we face, if we are surrendered to God, God is working it out for our good. It's because He has a perfect plan. It's because He has a perfect plan. And all He wants us to do is surrender and seek His face. Surrender and seek His face, which brings me to the last point that I want to make. In my journey, especially my fertility journey, you know, and my journey to becoming a mom, you know, the Lord made it clear to me when everything finally worked out. The Lord said to me, you know what, Toyin, this was never about having children. If I wanted you to have a child the moment you got married, I could have just gone like this, and then boom, child there. As in, you becoming a mom is not a difficult circumstance for me to figure out, hey, how am I going to make it happen? No, Toyin, hey, this girl, she wants a child. Look at her, she's backsliding. How will I stop her from backsliding? My child, my girl, angels, come together, let's do something. There's no such thing. God is not confounded by our problems. So why is it that we have certain situations? There are many reasons, but I firmly believe that there's no circumstance that we face as a child of God that is surrendered to God that God does not allow. I'm not saying He made it happen, but if He allowed it, it's because He wants to do a work in us. He has something better, but it's not about the end goal. It's about the process. It's about the journey. I hope the light is not too bright for you guys watching me. You know, and please make comments and share. Make sure you're sharing this video. Please share on your pages so that other people can hear, and maybe there's somebody out there, somebody in your network that actually needs to hear this. You might be going through different things right now. I can tell you that my story is this. The things that the Lord has allowed me to go through, and I don't know what is ahead in the future, but the things that the Lord, the breaking and the squeezing and the stretching where you're like, it can't get worse than, like, it can't get worse than this. and then it gets worse. And then with hindsight, you now realize what God was doing is that he was forging you into the person that he wants you to be. He was molding you. He was breaking you. He was putting you back together because he has an original design for each of our lives. Number one, he wants us to love him and to be intimate with him. Ultimate, number one. And if there are things in our lives that are blocking that, he will take us through the process of weeding those things out. You cannot run away from it. If you are really walking with God, and if you are really serious about that God life, you cannot run away from the fact that the Lord will allow you to go through breaking so that he can work his purpose in your life, so that he can work in you the new man. That's why I speak about bow out old man. Bow out the old man. Put off the old man. Put off the weights and the sins that so easily ensnare, and put on the new man. When we go through processes, God is forging in us the person, the gifts. He's stirring up those gifts. He's even stirring up passions in us, so that when I come, for instance, now some of the experiences that I've had, growing up in my early adulthood, are the things that have birthed in me the passions that I have now, the desire that I have now to help Christians in their walk with God. It all has to do with the process that I've been through. The desire that I have now to help people who are going through hard times or who are struggling with certain types of sin. Do you understand? That is holding them back, just the way sin held me back for so many years, and I look like a shadow. In fact, not even a shadow. I looked like something that I should not have looked like. Why? Because yes, I was a Christian, but I was allowing the old man to continue to rule my life. And so the Lord allowed a lot of tribulation and trials in my life to cause me to come to my knees before him, so he could show me who I am and show me what I look like, and then now start to piece me back, sort of like take me apart, unravel me, and then piece me back together again. And that is my story. And I can confidently say, not that I have been perfected, because that is going to take the rest of my life. God have mercy on me. But I can confidently say that the Lord has shown me, and he shows all of us as children of God that, you know what, just walk with me. All of this, it's not about the end goal. It's not about the children. The children are a blessing. I love them. They're a blessing. But if I did not allow God to do the work he wanted to do in my life during the process, then having the children, it's neither here nor there. What? Am I going to get to heaven and be boasting to the person next to me, hey, listen, you waited, the person that didn't wait, maybe somebody had children after 9 months of getting married, will they be holding it as that? Was there a crown? You understand? For people that have children after 9 months versus people that have children after 7 years? No, there's no crown. We're not going to get to heaven and celebrate that I had great houses and I had a great job when I was on earth. We're not. We're going to get to heaven and celebrate that we knew God, that we answered his call, that we walked in intimacy with him, that we fulfilled his purpose for our lives, that we worked the works that he had prepared for us from before time began. That's what we're going to get to heaven and to be celebrating, that wow, we knew him, we know him now. You understand? We're spending eternity with him. That's it. So me being in Joburg really just brought back these memories of just the things that confounded me, and how the Lord unraveled those things from my life, but not just by giving me solutions to circumstances. He worked on the inside, you understand, to fix and to address the things on the inside that were broken, to address the things on the inside that were hindering me from taking my position and my place as his child, as the daughter of the Most High, from hindering me from having the power and the boldness to do what I'm doing now, to stand up and be like, Lord, what are the works that you've prepared for me to do in this earth? What are the solutions that you've placed in me to bring to the world that's dying? The world needs us to be the solution. You understand what I'm saying? All of these things, they were causing blocks, and the Lord was unraveling those things, working on the inside. And I want to encourage you guys. I want to encourage you, because I know what it's like when you're deep in the mess and it's painful and nobody understands, and nobody understands. You can't explain. When people try and encourage you, you're just like, yeah, thanks, thank you. And you're just like, please, I wish you would just keep quiet, or maybe just walk on by. I know that feeling. And I really hope that the words of what I'm saying to you, the Holy Spirit will somehow translate it into life for you. Sanctify yourself to the Lord. Separate yourself unto God. Just pursue him, pursue him, pursue him. That's it. That's it. pursue him, and in that place of intimacy with God, his fire will work and do his work in your life, making you into the person he wants you to be, because the process is more important than the outcome. The process, and then he will bring the outcome. If I share the testimony of how I became a mom, it was like when the Bible says, and it was like, and they were like them that dreamed. It's a dream. It's like, how? You understand? How did this happen? It was so difficult for so many years. How did it become so easy? Nothing is hard for the Lord. If he's holding back, it's because he wants to do a work in you. He wants to do a work in you. There's no devil that can stop a child of God from getting what God has for him. I know the devil attacks us. Don't get me wrong. The devil does attack us, and we know in the book of Job that the devil came asking to afflict Job. But remember that God gave him permission. Think of Peter as well. Jesus said to Peter, the devil has come and he has asked that he might sift you, but I have prayed for you. So God is fully aware. It's not like God is taken by surprise when you go through affliction because the devil is attacking you. Maybe they're calling your name in the village or whatever it is. If you are African, you understand what I mean by that. I'm not saying those things are not real, and I'm not saying don't wage war against the enemy when the enemy is coming against you. But I'm saying God's eyes are wide open. He knows what's going on. So ask the Lord as well. Lord, why are you allowing this to happen in my life? Is it because I'm faithless? Is it because I am bitter? Is it because I'm dealing with anger issues? Is it because I am not committed to you? Is it because my heart is not set on you? Is it because I love the world? Is it because I love the things of the world? What are the things that you're highlighting? Because trials highlight the things in your life. What are the things that you're highlighting in my life, Lord? Do what you need to do. Do the work that you need to do, the work of purification, the work of sanctification as I go through this process, because I know that you will work it all out for my good. Okay.